Hello, welcome to Paleo Grainbird. I am Thosi Zinkala. Dave, please tell me if I'm pronouncing that correctly, or if I'm supposed to emphasize the T in Zinkala. But anyway, here we go. I've got a piece of Georgetown. This is an old, well, it's a biface. At the time, I considered it a preform. But it's a biface. Still pretty thick. And because my skill level is improving a little bit, that is why it went from a preform to a biface. It was thin at the time, but now I think I can do a little bit better. That beautiful piece of flint ridge in my last video, the one with all the tight zebra stripes, I managed to bust that into about 3 pieces, but that's okay, because it was a learning experience. I was, I don't know, just trying to get a little bit thinner. I don't know if you remember watching the video, but there was a high spot in the middle, and there were some platforms that I could take, so I did, and just end up a little bit outside of my skill set, and in the attempt of thinning it, I ended up breaking it. It was a support issue. It's because I was napping off the leg. I should have, at that level, when it was that thin, I should have been napping right off the hand. Just wasn't thinking. It's one of those things where I just need more practice. If I had been thinking about it and realized that I shouldn't be napping off the hand, everything would have been fine. Well, I don't know if everything would have been fine or not, but I certainly would have had a chance. So this is pretty thin, as you can see. Alright? Pretty thin. Almost the thickness of some of my previous points, but I am just going to do my best to get this stuff as thin as I can. This grinding stone is just awesome. I think I say it in every video. I tend to repeat myself because I just don't remember what I said, but this grinding stone is freaking amazing. Got this from Mr. Tin Bears, and it's way better than any of the sandstone that I have. I believe he told me it was something he found, so hopefully I'm not abusing an artifact. Let's see here. Let's take this one right here. Nice thin flake. You can see it, there it is. Pretty thin flake for percussion. You can take thin flakes with percussion. Direct percussion. I'm not skilled enough yet at the indirect percussion, but I am trying. So I'm just going to try and kind of trim this a little bit because it's a little bit rough. You know, I've got those waves. I probably could try and take a couple flakes off, but I really don't need to because this side is pretty flat. This is the convex side. Yet again, I have another turtle. These are old preforms or bifaces that I have made in the past, so some of them are a little bit turtly, and that's okay. I would suggest, if you are new to napping, just make as many bifaces as you can. Stash them in a bucket. Get back to them another day. You learn from every one, and every time you break out that biface, you'll get it a little bit thinner every time. Yeah. And once I work through these bifaces that are a little bit wonky, so it gives me a little bit of experience trying to kind of correct them, then I will start making some new ones that'll probably be a lot thinner. Still have my wedding ring on. I usually take that off because, you know, it can make contact with the stone and do bad things, but I just forgot to take it off, so I'm not going to take the time to go stash it away, because I have to stash it in a special spot, because otherwise I wake up and freak out and think I lost my ring. There we go. Nice thin flakes. I love this grinder. So this flake that I'm going to take now, this is actually, there's a ridge there, but it doesn't really go anywhere, so I'm just trimming basically at this point. So I'm not going to drive a flake. I'm still going to give all kinds of support, tip, side, everywhere I possibly can. That's not going to cause short termination. I'm not going to smash it onto the pad. There we go. Nice flake. Beautiful. Okay, so a little thick on the tip. So that's where I'm going to focus some of my attention. This is Georgetown, by the way. I don't think I mentioned that. So I need to, this whole side here can get reduced, but I'm going to try the tip. Hopefully I don't smash it, break it. Let's try. There we go. Look at that. There's the flake. Tiniest of flakes. I know the lighting is not great down here, guys, so I apologize, but I don't know if you can hear it, but it's raining in the background. My porch is full of snow. The good news is you don't have to listen to all the cars driving down the main road. So maybe you'll enjoy that. Some quick little trim. I love Georgetown. Just even grinding it, I can smell, you know, like the fire. It wants to. It's a good flint to use for flint and steel. That was a nice, good flake. There's the flake. Cannot see the camera, so I do not know what this is picking up, but do my best. I don't really have a good story to tell today. Trim this back up a little bit. Wish I did. Things have been a little bit crazy here. I haven't been getting a lot of sleep. I don't really know why. I mean, I kind of know why, but that's none of your business. Alright, so I got a decent platform right here, which is going to go across, oh, hopefully downward this way, across that convex side. Maybe flatten it out a little bit. It's good, you know, it's not going to do anything for any of my flake patterns because it's going to be a flake that's going, you know, north and south, but I just want a good point. I'm not super concerned about the flake pattern. I gotta trim this up a little bit more first, though. So this will almost be kind of like a flute because I'm going to be shooting straight up. Not too much though, so it probably won't be like a flute. I'm just kind of being funny. Right, maybe a little more grinding. Trying to pay attention and not cram this onto my leg because that will cause short terminations, and I do want these flakes to go as long as they can because they're thinning flakes. So I'm just going to try and let it float a little bit. Sure. Okay. Try and get this side. I'm trying to pay more attention to my grinding. I'm pretty lazy when it comes to grinding and platform preparation. And I think, you know, it hasn't been an issue so far, but now that I'm starting to be able to get my stuff a little thinner, I really need to focus on that because that does make the difference between snapping it in half and making a nice, beautiful point. There we go. Can't see it because there's such thin flakes, but trust me when I tell you. Oh, here we go. I got a good one right here. It's driving into the flat side, which I don't like. I would rather drive into the convex side, but it'll make a platform so I can drive into the convex side next time. Yeah. Beautiful flakes. There it is right there. There's my platform. So I'm going to hit this low spot right there. Hopefully the camera picks that up. It's incredibly dark down here. I'm going to work on that. I'm going to work on getting some better lighting down here. Try not to let it hit my ring, because that will snap it. Oop, a little off. Trying to support the back, the tip, the side, anything I possibly can without cramming it my leg, because that will, again, not to be redundant, but will cause a short termination. There we go. Looks like small flakes, but trust me, they are doing their job. It's a bummer that I smashed that other piece, but you know, if you're not snapping, you're not napping. Sounds corny, but it's so true. Alright, now I'm trying to make sure, I want to make sure I don't get one side of this thinner than the other, because like I said, I am kind of at a point where, oh, that was a nice flake. I am at a point where my pieces are becoming a lot thinner than they were. Which is pretty cool. And I am progressing, and I'm not saying this to smash on myself or anything like that, but I am progressing a lot slower than some others, and that's okay. Because I bet there are things that I'm pretty good at that maybe they're not so great at, so my personal journey. There we go. I don't normally grind this much, but I'm really trying to make sure that I adhere to the fundamentals, because when the rock starts to get this thin, you have to. Get these micro flakes, which are really good. So now I think what I need to do, I need to shape before I do anything. And I'm going to do that right off the hand. Learned my lesson the hard way last time. Make it thin like this. I want to be careful how much you nap off the leg, because you'll get support issues. Maybe snap the point like I did. And a lot of this shaping can probably be done through grinding, so I'm not going to hyper focus on, you know, perfect shape here. Plus, look how wide it is. I mean, that's going to be narrowed down for sure. You know, we're not going to make a point that wide. But I don't like to reduce the width any more than I have to, unless it's through reduction, you know, in the width. I mean, in the thickness of the point. So looks kind of crazy wide now, but it'll come together. Let's just go ahead and grind this. And this is a good opportunity too, because what I'm doing is you can hear all the stuff. There's a tarp inside this bucket. I don't know, I just was too lazy to take it out, and it's not going to fill up enough to bother me, but you can feel those flakes hitting, and what that is that's all the stuff that just doesn't want to be there anyway. It's just like anything else in life. Doesn't want to be there and it doesn't have a purpose, get rid of it. Because, as we all know, it'll cause you a lot of discomfort in the long run. And the stuff that does want to be there, does want to remain in your life, don't be afraid to have expectations of that. Having expectations does not mean that, you know, you're being, you know, selfish, or I don't know what the word is, but you can have expectations, and if something doesn't meet your expectations, that's okay. Doesn't mean anything bad. Alright, so what I did there, I probably should have explained it first. That was a nice flake. Is I am on my leg, which is a little bit risky, because you know, I can get short terminations or I can get end shock, but I'm holding it with my finger. I'm supporting the tip. I'm just barely gently putting it on the leather, hitting at an angle with my billet. I have a smaller billet than this I could probably use, but as I get a little bit better at this, I'm going to have to start using my tools a little bit more effectively, because you know, when you first start, or when your results are, you know, not, I don't know how to explain it, but there's a point where it's like anything else. You don't really, you know, you can kind of fudge it a little bit. Doesn't matter the tools that you use. There we go. Or, you know, I don't know, I'm just babbling. But as you get a little bit better, you'll notice that some of those, you know, fine, you know, some of those things that those fundamentals really come into play, because when you, there we go,
when you have it, oh, that was a nice one. When you have a nice big rock, it's easy to take a big piece out of it and feel excited about it. When you have a tiny rock, you need those strong platforms. You need the ground edges. You need that attention to detail. Which is what I'm trying to do today. But we'll see. So my tip is a little bit thin. I am a little bit concerned about that because I'm concerned that if I try and reduce right here, which I need to, there is a possibility that, especially since the smiles go in the wrong direction, I could take that tip right off. So I might just come back to that. Maybe I will hit this edge here. I might save some of these for, you know, when I get a little bit better at indirect percussion. Dave Tembears and Charles McKinney, if you watch their page, boy, they just do amazing stuff. And I'm pretty sure both of them have been napping probably, I don't know, I'd say half the time I've been napping, and they're already producing points that are significantly thinner than what I produce, just because of the style. I'm not slamming on myself, but I am giving them props. I'm happy and proud of what I produce. It's just a different style. There we go. And man, look at this. This is just getting thinner and thinner every time I do it. This is exciting. So, Charles, if you're watching this video, I want to send a specific message to you because you emailed me, and I hope I'm not calling you out on this, but you emailed me and told me that there was a time where you felt like everything you touched was breaking apart. And I have a video somewhere. I couldn't find it because I just don't label things really that great, but something about flint napping, I have found with myself that there we go, nice flake. I hit a wall, and when I do that, look at those flakes, isn't that really cool? That's beautiful. So when I hit a wall, I have noticed with myself, it's, I don't know if this is with you or not, but with me, it's a huge mental thing. I feel like the more I struggle, the more my brain hyper-focuses on trying to correct that problem, and it really doesn't help because I lose my creative outlet. So on more than one occasion, I have found that when I feel like my napping has hit a wall, or I'm just not happy with it, or whatever the case is, I stop. Literally, I don't nap anything for like a month. And then when I come back, Charles, when I come back, that my ability is stronger than it was when I started. So there's something there. I don't know what it is. I'm sure somebody somewhere will be able to chime in and tell me, you know, psychologically or physiologically what it is that leads to that, but it's just weird. It's strange. You come back and you're a better napper than you were when you left. Alright, so the tip is pretty decent. The bass, still a little wavy, which is great because I need those platforms. And for Georgetown, I'm pretty happy with this because Georgetown, for me, kind of works like Novaculite. It's a little bit steppy, but I'm really excited about how this is coming out today. There we go. I may have to do a little bit of pressure, but I'm really trying my hardest not to. I don't even know why. Grind both sides just in case I flip back and forth. Oh, I love this grinding stone. This grinding stone is the best grinding stone I've ever had, I think. So Tip is thin. There's a little bit of a platform here, but I do need to be careful. This is where I snapped the last preform. It's because it's so thin in the middle there. Just have to gently give it some love. Just a little bit. That was nice. Didn't look like much, but that ran a flake all the way across, and this is getting really thin. I mean, for some of you out there, you might be like, yeah, whatever, but for me, this is, you know, thinner than what I'm used to being able to accomplish. So I'm really excited about this. Can you see the excitement? Can you feel it? I know, I'm kind of boring. There we go. Alright, and I think we're pretty close to calling this one a preform. And I'm really happy about this. I need some shape. It does need some shaping. I need to shape this a little bit, but other than that, as far as the thickness, it's pretty acceptable. Alright, so let's start shaping this a little bit. Let's grind it first, though. Wish I had a hammerstone on me. Actually, I do. It's just buried in my bucket. Damping off the hand always really, in my opinion, for me, works better in the finishing process. You just have to really keep an eye on your support, because things can go bad in a hurry. Kind of glad I missed on the last one because I realized I did not have good support. Well, let's just... So I'm just going to shape this. I think what I'm going to do, actually, I know I've been avoiding it all video, but I am going to use some pressure. Just because I feel like it's a good way to shape the point. Excuse me. For whatever reason, I feel like it's you know, a challenge for me to try and get a point down as much as I can using just percussion. Let's just use the tools that are available to us. So I'm going to use a little bit of pressure just to shape this. My pressure flaker is a little bit bent. I don't care.
Doesn't matter.
I don't need precision work right now. I just need to kind of shape and take off some of these deltas. Yeah, that's perfect. I'll either come back with another flaker or adjust this nail, this copper nail, so that it's more suitable for what I need it to do. So again, just shaping, not really, I mean, I only took some flakes off the base, but not really, that's not really the intention of what I'm trying to do right now. Just trying to shape. If I can take a flake, excuse me, opportunistically, of course I will. And this cough has nothing to do with the fact that I'm napping indoors, just so you know. Let's see here. Yeah, let's trim this up too. We're getting there. Yeah, the very tip is significantly thinner. I don't really like that, but not much I can do about it. That's my heater. Sorry about that. I'll try and wrap this up so that you don't have to listen to that for very long. I have forced hot air, so when that thing comes on, it blasts. Pretty close. Just working on symmetry right now. This one side is a little bit off from the other one. This tail's a little bit big too. I gotta trim this tail up. Just nip it in the bud now. Pretty good though. I'm pretty excited about this. I love Georgetown. Georgetown is the closest thing to real flint that we have here in the States. As far as I know, I don't think we really have any real flint. We have a lot of chert and stuff like that, but as far as the fossilized coral, we have a little bit in Florida. It's fun to work. It's a little challenging, but it's fun to work. Shape this a little bit. Alright, so it's not perfect, but I think for the sake of the video, time, everything else, I'm going to call this complete until I decide to break it back out. Probably destroy it. But for me, I think, I've kind of reached a new level. I'm hitting things a lot thinner than I have been. I'm trying to learn indirect, like I said. It does get points a lot thinner, but I feel like my direct is coming along a little bit. Still nowhere where I need to be. I've been doing this for a long time too, just so you know. I think I said earlier in the video, a lot of people that start this craft, years after I do. They're already far more skilled than me, and that's okay, because that just comes down to chair time. You know, you put in the time, you get the results. So I can't can't argue with that. It doesn't matter how long you've been doing it. It matters how many hours in the seat you have. Yep, I'm going to call that done. I'm pretty happy with this. So this is a beautiful piece of Georgetown. It's got a pretty decent flake pattern. Hopefully it's picking it up. Relatively thin. I think that's pretty thin. I'm happy with that. Alright. So this is Paleo Greenbird, Thozis and Cully, and I am signing out. Have a great night.